Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
What's going on, everybody? It's official. We are in the friggin' offseason. Hockey's over. The Jazz are done. We got nothing going on. Well, no.
What are we going to do?
Football is live. Yes? All right. Just 100% of the time, Real Salt Lake. Let's get it going. Hey, we've got lots going on here. We've got tons going on a Wednesday. We have so much fun planned out for you, so don't miss any of it. We're going to stay right here all day here with you, all afternoon. So hang out. Yes, Mike Folta is going to make his, I don't know if it's going to be his final appearance of certainly of the season, maybe because the hockey club went out with a loss last night. A big one, too. Look, the Blues needed this. It's the second night of a back-to-back. I'm making up all the excuses for you, JJ.
Yeah.
It was about right. 6-1, but it was more importantly, it was that 4-0 first period. When
it was over quick.
It was tough, and it was not a good note for my little boys to go out on the season.
No.
Because they've been live or die by the hockey club's wins and losses. So to go into the offseason.
That was a tough watch then.
Yeah, and the younger one was like, so you're sure they're not in the playoffs? I'm like, yeah, sorry, man.
No,
they're not going to keep.
Yeah, that was official last week.
Yeah, and look.
You need to sit your boys down and explain to them.
It's been a fun year. So I don't know how this thing's going to live in the history books for our family or for this market, for this hockey club this year. I will definitely, I will say from our family standpoint, from a personal note, like my kids are going to remember this year forever. Remember the first year that the hockey club came in and they didn't even have a freaking name? Like that's where they're going to start things off. And they went to some games. They went to a game in Florida. They're never going to forget that one. Go watch the Panthers. And the Utah Hockey Club down there in Sunshine. Crazy. So that's been fun to be able to do, but it's over. Mike Folta is going to join us, give us a little bit of a thought and a rundown on the entire season next hour, and we'll get his thoughts on it. We've got tons to jump into. The football transfer portal is officially open in college football. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
This is when it gets awkward.
Here it comes.
This is when stuff starts to get fun.
Massive wave of players available.
I can't wait. The awkwardness is real. And this is going to be the most active transfer portal we've ever seen because a lot of these players are asked to never come back, right? I mean, that's the reason they're hitting the transfer portal.
This is a transition year where the teams have to get down to 105, and they're going to have some tough conversations.
Yeah.
From here on out, they're not going to have this problem, but you're going to have a massive clump of players that enter the portal because they have nowhere to go.
It's interesting. Demographically, it's going to be the vast majority are people who are told, we can't use you, man. Like that's what it's going to be. Before it was, they're hitting the transfer portal because they're disgruntled.
Hey,
or they're hitting the transfer portal because they want to get money over
here.
You're
Southern Utah or you're Colorado Mesa or you're Utah Tech. Like this is an opportunity for you to get some really good talent that you didn't have a shot at before.
Right. Come on. Get this thing going.
There's places for these kids to play. Are they willing to go play in those places? They should.
At some point, it's going to be the only option. And so I'm excited to see how this is going to affect the going forward. But we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up in just a little bit. In the meantime, spring football is still underway up on the hill. The University of Utah kicking things off. And, well, I say kicking things off. They're now into the fourth and final week of spring practice.
Yeah, the spring game is on Saturday.
I got live eyeballs. Not me. I had somebody who was there at the game who works up in the press box, and they had some interesting things to say about the quarterbacks. And I'm happy to tell you about some of those things because it's not a lot of things. They're things that we've already known, but this was confirmed, I think, on Saturday by somebody.
So you're saying you have a mole at Rice Eccles Stadium.
Not the Fred Savage mole
and how,
on Austin Powers.
Money. How soon does Kyle Whittingham sniff out your mole and remove him from the premises?
Hey, Alex, Fred Savage. No,
No
doesn't ring a
idea?
bell.
What would you do if you sang out of tune?
Here comes the Joe Cocker version of that song.
Joe Cocker?
No, who was it?
No?
No, of course not. Why would it? No, it was Jim Croce, I guess, who did that song.
No, it was Joe Cocker.
It was Joe Cocker, yeah. But
You got it right.
Beatles, then Joe Cocker covers it, and then it becomes Wonder Years.
Yeah.
I know the Beatles.
That's great.
Name 3 out of the 4.
Good for you.
Name 3 out of the 4 Beatles.
John, Paul, Ringo, and George.
Oh, he got it. He got it.
Any last
Give
names
him
in
credit.
there? Any last names?
Lennon, McCartney, Starr, and Harrison.
Look at
He
you.
got it.
I'm proud of you. Look,
That's incredible.
I take back all those.
The millennial
Things-
just named all 4 Beatles.
No, I'm the millennial. He's Gen X. No, he's Gen Z. Sorry, you're the Gen X. We
I
got
don't know
it all
how this
covered.
generation crap works.
We got it all
but
covered.
we're
You're
having
Gen
fun
X
with this.
technically. I
Thought he was a boomer.
I did ask the question.
I'm not
I
a
did
boomer.
ask the question. I'm a geriatric millennial, and then Alex, our producer, has it covered with a. We got the full spectrum covered. We got Gen.
My
Gen
kids
Z.
think I'm a boomer.
Gen X, millennial. Yeah.
Okay,
they
boomer.
bring it up. Yeah, of course. They've got tons going on. All right, let's jump in here, though. We've got some Utah football to chat about. Our program brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. Give it a shot today. Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods, and many other of your retailers in the refrigerated section because it's darn fresh. Let's kick things off. Let's talk some Utah spring football, get some sound from up on the hill. Kicking things off with the cut. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show, every day brought to you by the good folks at Trajan Wealth, TRAJANwealth.com for all your trusted local needs in retirement. It's Trajan Wealth. All right, Kyle Whittingham and his guys are trying to figure out how to right the ship and well underway. And the developments that we're seeing out of this Utah camp is the one that Devin Dampier is legit.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's getting a lot of national pub and getting a lot of energy, I think, that they needed at that quarterback spot that was different from the energy that they got last year and the year before. The hope of a guy who never panned out those last 2 years and that they paid a lot of money to in Cam Rising. That was difficult. The not ready situation for Isaac Wilson, which has turned tough. I told you there was somebody who was up at the scrimmage on Saturday, and they said, "Look," and I guess technically they don't do a depth chart, right? Or they have some version of it, but I don't know.
They're not sharing it.
Right, and so inside of the team, it is definitely Devin Dampier, obviously your QB1, but Bird is checking all the boxes
Yeah.
as
I'm
QB2,
hearing the same.
and that's actually an amazing thing for Isaac Wilson. Okay. If you're looking at that and going, what an awful thing for that kid. He's just got put in the third string. This needs to be a year for him to sit out. This needs to be a year that he redshirts and that there's no question about, hey, who's the guy going to be? Are you going to be QB2? Remember how much freaking time we were like, how good does it look at QB2? Well, at this time last year, we're asking a guy who would have been at prom, but instead enrolled early.
Well, it turned out that mattered a lot, didn't it?
Yes.
That was a conversation we needed to have. and
QB2,
should have
who's
had,
QB2, who's QB2? And
Because
they're
it
like,
turned out to be a big deal.
this kid is ready. And he obviously wasn't. And he was thrown into a situation, and that wasn't a good thing for the whole kit and caboodle. It was not good for the University of Utah. Let's start things off with what Kyle Whittingham said. Very first observations from going into the final week of camp here up on the hill.
Another scrimmage on Saturday. How'd that one go?
Went good. It went good. It was another, I guess you'd call it a hybrid scrimmage where some of the drills were live and some were thud, but got a lot of work done. Continue to take steps forward and continue to have a long way to go. I mean, there's you're never satisfied. You're always trying to get better, but I think through 12 practices, I can say we have not had a bad practice. Some are better than others, obviously, but we've made at least some progress every single day out here. We've got 3 to go and got to make them count.
Especially out of the quarterbacks. Where have you seen progress in kind of their development, especially with Devin?
We have, yep, Devin and the other 2 that are getting, the 3 guys are getting all the reps, Devin, Isaac, and Bird. And we've seen progress out of all 3 of them, and that needs to happen. And you would expect that with all the reps we're getting. You'd expect some improvement to take place, and it has.
What position groups do you feel have improved the most over the course of camp?
The most. Well, the wide receivers are starting to take big steps, as we talked about. Zach Williams in particular. Safeties are playing really good football. Rabbit Evans is making plays all over the place, and Nate Ritchie's doing a great job. Teo Johnson's doing a great job. So I would say those guys are really a catalyst for the defense.
Spring portal opens up here soon. How active do you think your program will be there?
Time will tell. You never know. There's indications are that it shouldn't be too crazy, but until it actually happens, you never know. So we'll find out. It's tomorrow's the day, right? We've got 8 hours it opens up, or 6 hours, whatever the case may be. So we'll see. But everyone right now is out here working hard, and haven't had anybody opt out for the portal this spring. We had one quarterback early on, but other than that, it's been pretty quiet.
As it stands right now, what position groups do you feel like you're going to address
in the portal? Okay, we'll probably need another receiver. O-line, we're solid. Maybe another running back. QB, unless we have movement, we should be okay. We'll take a look at QBs. You always do in the portal every time it opens. Tight ends, we should be okay. D tackles, possibly a little thin there, and a corner. So that's probably the shopping list. But again, it just depends on availability and who we may lose that we don't anticipate losing, so that could alter that. But as we stand right now, that's the plan.
Kyle, in the fall, when you talked about needing more of a plug-and-play offense to kind of help with the transfer portal, how have you seen that change maybe with Jason, and has it worked maybe a little bit better for you to get these guys in?
It's working well, and it's an offense that is user-friendly, and there's a lot of pre-snap explanation to the players. I guess that's the best way to put it. There's not a lot of rote memory, and so that helps out when you're new to the program, new to the offense. It reduces that learning curve.
Kyle, I want to ask about Hunter Andrews switching from running back to tight end. How has he been here?
He's made a great transition, and we plan to have that stick. It was at first it was, let's see how you fit in this new scheme and how they can utilize you, and he's been a big part of what we're doing offensively. He's a guy that is essentially playing as much as anybody else. He's getting tons of reps and has really responded, and that is going to be the place that he continues to play.
Coach, in regards to losing people you might not expect to lose, do you change your exit meetings, your conversations? Do you address players differently than you used to?
No, we don't change that. We still got to get through spring ball and finish up. We'll have our exit meetings next week, and typically, if a guy is going to go to the portal, they are not going to go through the entire spring ball. That typically they usually opt out prior to, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. But that's usually the indicator is when they say, "Hey, I'm not going to practice anymore." But we can't have too much disruption and change the whole routine just because of that. We just got to keep plugging away and keep going through the process that we have.
The preliminary approval for the House settlement was pushed back, and obviously that means rev share is kind of up in the air. Teams are kind of mad dashing to put money into people's pockets. Does that change your perspective, given there was no preliminary approval on that?
Probably not. We don't have a vault of cash somewhere to put in people's pockets. If you do, if you know about one, let me know. But no, that doesn't change how we operate right now.
There you go. You could just tell in his voice that last question made him want to die, right? He's just. Hey, with the rev sharing.
This is why he's considering retirement.
Hey, Coach Whittingham, the House settlement. And he went,
his
eyes glazed over immediately.
Please, not that. Keep asking me about the quarterbacks. I don't want to talk about the House settlement.
Please, I want to talk more about how much money I have to give these kids. It's going to be great. It's interesting how they're going to treat the transfer portal because, like I said, this year you're going to see, they'll be able to plan for this in the next coming years and see what the best vibe is. You're going to want to keep extra people. Where does the walk-on fit into you have to have some version of that still, right? There's some.
Well, how do you when you're a Big 12 program and you believe you're a top 25 program, how do you have room for walk-ons?
You just know that they are going to be.
Of course,
there's going to be some guys who.
I know the program values the walk-ons. Don't get me wrong, but how can they make room for walk-ons when they're trying to win at such a high level?
Yeah, I just think that there's going to be still groups that they bring in, and they're going to have guys that they like, and they're going to break up with guys who might be the traditional scholarship dude, and they
like, this guy's a turd. I'd rather have
this freshman kid we've never met.
I don't know. Kid from Fremont High School.
Maybe it's too hard. Maybe that version of how you build your roster off of that is never going to exist. I don't know, but you can't just be at 105 all year long. You're going to have attrition naturally anyway. You're going to have guys who are disgruntled and are going to leave the program anyway. And that's the thing about the transfer portal is this new version of it, and it's new even this year, where you're going straight to the transfer portal because you've got to get yourself down to 105. So you're having more coaches having these awkward conversations. And you heard Coach Whittingham right there. I mean, how crazy is it that you have a grocery list of guys you're going to go shopping for? What do you say? Offensive line depth, right? Defensive tackle, they're thin at it. Corner. By the way, you said it there.
Wait,
you said it.
That threw me off. Like, wait a minute. Utah's short on D tackles.
We were mid listening to this conversation, or listening to Coach Whittingham roll this out, and you were like, a University of Utah team that is like, we're thin at defensive tackle. Like, that is crazy to me. And thin at corner. We want to add some depth at corner. We want to add offensive line.
They lost Keanu Tanavasa around the holidays, and they've got to go out and probably find a replacement. I get that. And there may be some dudes in the portal now after spring around the country that fit that. I get that. I was taken aback because you just never think about defensive tackle with the Utes. Because it just feels like the cupboard's never bare. Yeah. So for him to say that was kind of like, ooh, that's interesting.
Look, I think it's smart, too, to just be like, hey, here are the positions we're looking for. You almost just – this is the way you recruit now, right? Where you go, we're gonna need some more running backs.
It's like putting an ad on KSL Classifieds. In search of
That's
ISO,
how you do it.
receiver, running back, defensive tackle, and cornerback. Message me if interested.
Yeah.
Text only.
Picture in your mind's eye.
Kyle Whittingham.
Yeah. Picture in your mind's eye. Kyle Whittingham right now as we speak, up on the hill. He's got his readers on in his office, and he's looking at the computer. He's doing the up and down thing, like dads do, looking up in there. So he's reading the computer screen, and he's in the search column in the transfer portal. Okay. Running back is running with two ends. Okay, running back. And then he goes, okay, who are we at? What is this? Okay. Nope. Well, let's give this guy a look, or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This kid likes Van Halen. I'm going to give him a shot.
Has a picture of a kid on this transfer portal profile on a Harley, and then Witt's like, I like this guy.
That's my kind of player.
Yeah. I don't know how you approach it as a coaching staff. Are your guys just living inside of there and going, hey, I have these listed for you, Coach. I have these highlighted. Let's take a look at this kid.
That's a great question.
How do you have the names? You have tape on half of these people already.
Do they have
just floating out there.
General manager on staff that's basically handling that for them?
The Utah's got a GM. Everybody is
keeping tabs on everything across.
I think the GM that they have.
That's an interesting thing to learn more about.
Yeah, and I think the GM, and I know BYU's is like this too. That's more of the business money side, more than it is the
100%. But
the recruiting side.
If you have a payroll, you have to manage that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once the house settlement stuff's all figured out, that's exactly what's going to happen. Is the schools themselves are going to be paying these players.
Okay, let's. I want to listen to Devin Dampier first. I know we're coming up against the bottom of the hour here. I do want to listen to what the now QB1 at Utah had to say, and then a little bit later in the program, I'll have you listen to some of the things that the lone All-American on Utah's roster, Spencer Fano, has to say about it too. But here's what Devin Dampier said going into this last week of spring football, now that he's got a few weeks under his belt as a University of Utah quarterback.
How do you feel after a month of spring ball?
I feel great. Obviously, again, I say it all the time. Coming here, I knew the defense was going to be great. So just getting that work against a great defense, especially for me personally, I feel like I'm getting better by today. And just the new guys adjusting to the new offense already here, they learn fast. So I think we're on the right track. We're moving fast. We're getting done when we got to get done.
Kyle talked about the improvement from the receivers. What have you seen from them, and how encouraged do you feel about that group?
Yeah, I think receivers are a very big quarterback-receiver chemistry thing. So just them learning how we want to run our offense and what we want to do. And, when they're able to pick that up, they're basically on the same chemistry as me. So when we both know what we're doing on the field, completions tend to come real easy. So I think we're getting a better job of just feeling each other and, knowing what's going on the field together.
Devin, where have you improved since last year with New Mexico?
Yeah, I feel like turnovers is something, just protecting the ball. That's something big I've been working on this spring. But just also, you're never at full potential. There's always room to get better. So just always going over film, seeing what I can do better, just taking everything away every practice.
How different is the offense here that you ran in New Mexico? I know it's the same OC, obviously, but is there any wrinkles that maybe you've had to learn or different things that way?
Yeah, obviously there's a couple things we add on. Certain players can do certain things a little better than other people. So, we stick to their talents, and there's certain things that they did do good last year in this offense. So we were able to translate a couple of those plays into our new offense. So yeah, it's great.
What's your connection like with Hunter Andrews? He switched from running back to tight end, and how's that been going for you guys too?
Yeah, that's huge shout out to him to be able to switch sides and the impact he has on our team already. He can run the ball, catch the ball. He's doing everything. So huge shout out to him. But yeah, our relationship's great. I'm talking to him after every play. He's taking it. I'm taking what he has for me. So we're on the same page.
How much easier has it made the installation of this offense, knowing that the offensive line is all returners from last year?
Yeah, I think that's been the easiest part of this part. Just coming here, they kind of handle a lot of the stuff up front. I make very little calls for them. They're all on the same page as well. So when you got all 5 guys working on the same page, my job's real easy back there.
As you move into the off season, what's the big goal for you in terms of what you're working on and that's right?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is continue to still talk to my guys, even though they're out with their families. You want them to enjoy that time, but just being able to keep that chemistry, because just being away from football, your mind could drift off a little bit. So just making sure I'm keeping in contact with those guys. Sending them clips every once in a while. Let's keep this thing. You've been doing it well all spring. Let's keep this going. Let's get on it summer, and then obviously a couple weeks before even summer ball, we're gonna get out here and we're gonna work even earlier. So
as the portal opens for the spring, are you going to be calling guys that you think belong on this team and helping recruit?
Yeah, as a player, that is my job to also help get the guys that we want to get over here. So, I will be participating in that.
All right.
That's where we are in 2025, by the way. Yeah, I'll be making some calls, getting some guys out of the transfer portal to come hang out. Hey, you're not just a high recruit, you are a recruiter now, right? We're going to need you to tell everybody how amazing it is. And I think it's great. I think they got I'm excited to see what Devin Dampier can do on the field. So far, he's checking all the boxes in terms of just like owning what the culture is at Utah. He's just soaking all that up. I think it's awesome. Witt did say wide receiver, by the way, too. So they're looking for wide receivers, maybe to add another running back, O-line depth, defensive tackle, cornerback.
Cornerback's a big one.
So there are people that are going to be looking at. It's going to be an aggressive, and I hope it's an aggressive transfer portal. If any team gets in there and goes, I think we're set with this group, then they're not doing their job. I don't care. Alabama right now is like, we have 3 quarterbacks in our quarterback room, and we don't like any of them. Not one of them right now is ready to start.
Right.
And so that's a problem.
Go find one.
That's a real problem. All right, we're going to
get some change out of the couch and go find a quarterback, Alabama.
I was going to say, I think he'll be all right. Well, I think they'll be okay. Who makes that phone call? Does the Nationwide? No, what's his name? What's the Allstate guy's name? Or no, the Aflac guy. Nick Saban. What's the?
Oh yeah, that guy. What's his name?
What's the Airbnb
Alabama
dude?
Jones?
How
did you forget his name?
What's the Verbo guy? What's his name? Yeah, Nick Saban. Could he call somebody? All right.
How many ads is he doing these days?
Look, why would you ever go anywhere else? Did you see
making more money doing those?
Did you see he was nominated for a sports Emmy?
Get out of here.
Oh, 100%.
For what?
I don't know, breaking records for cussing on ESPN? Like
wearing an Indiana Jones hat on there?
They're all, I like your style, kid. I think the rich get richer, man. That's all it's about it.
Jeez.
Imagine that. Guys are sitting around, they've been in the industry forever. Sports Emmy nominations pass them up, and then Nick Saban shows up and goes, I guess. I don't know. It's not as cool as the national championship. Dang. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we do have some names that have hit the transfer portal. Across the country, yes, but also names here locally that we know, at least 5 from BYU who are now in the transfer portal. Did the coaches ask them to put their name in there? How is that going to affect what they're going to do going forward, going into this offseason? So we've got more to go. Live transfer portal news whenever it hits right here. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex. Presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of the 2024 transfer portal.
Oh, we got to update that. It's 2025, man. This is the spring edition. We got to get that thing going. But yes, drama. But a different kind of drama this year now that the transfer portal is featuring guys who have just been fired from their programs.
Jeez. Yeah, Nico basically got fired, right?
Well,
isn't that how we should look at that?
What happened was he was okay. That's a great question, JJ. The metaphor is he was at his work, working on his resume and putting out feelers on his work computer. That's kind of what he was doing. You know what I mean? He was the guy who basically searched for the new job while he was on his other job, which is a big no-no. So he got fired. Now
it's like working at Microsoft, and then while at the same time you're working at Microsoft, you're doing job interviews with Apple.
Yeah, 100%.
And they find out.
So is it for sure that he's going to go to UCLA then?
It's a done deal.
Okay. And they say that the number is north of $3 million, right?
I don't know about that.
I don't know how UCLA can do it. Now, here's where the NIL money and regular revenue sharing stuff is totally different in college football. UCLA is hemorrhaging money in their athletic department. I know that sounds crazy, but you also have really, really influential and rich folks there in Westwood or that were former, alum who will throw money straight at a quarterback. It's Deshaun Foster, right? He was the head coach there still?
Yes.
Was it last year's first year?
Yes.
So, and it wasn't a great one.
Remember Chip Kelly left for the
NFL.
Right.
Oh, no, he left for Ohio State.
Or sorry, you're right. No.
Now he left to the NFL, right?
He left the head coach position to become the offensive coordinator at Ohio State and won a national title.
And now is he at the Raiders now? Does this sound like a fever dream?
I got ahead of myself. Yes.
Oh my gosh. I'm having all sorts of weird.
Yeah, he's the offensive coordinator for the Raiders. That's what I was referring to.
I don't know if I'm actually dreaming this or not because that's how wild it is.
I can't keep up with it.
No, and it's hard to keep up with. And the notable people that are in the transfer portal across the country, here are the names that you probably recognize. First of all, Jaden Rashada. What team would he be on? What number team would this be for him? Miami, but was he really there? Arizona State, Florida, right? Florida was the one that offered him all the money. He then goes to Miami and then goes to Arizona State. Now and then he went to Georgia and now he's in the transfer portal. That stinks of a guy who actually is not a very good quarterback, right?
Well, he's young, but he's not. He's still a freshman and he's 21. He's bounced around a lot.
Yeah.
But this is the new world we live in.
Some damaged goods
he may be good.
Going on there?
We just don't know because he hasn't played.
Nico,
even though he's been with four different schools.
Everybody, the big news, of course, has been the Nico Lamaleava story, which has been quite crazy. I think, too, the other thing that's happened with this situation, and did you see that a lot of reports started coming out that these players are like, we want to get paid extra for being in the postseason, which is a real problem for the NCAA. Like we care about the NCAA's problems. The NCAA goes, no, you can't get extra money for playing in the playoff. That's pay for play. They're like, no, that's one area that we definitely know we can get you on. But when you start talking revenue sharing, guess where a big chunk of money comes from? You are going to start seeing players also get bonuses for playing in the college football playoff.
Yeah, that's fine.
Why wouldn't you?
That's how the NFL works.
Okay, I'll give you a little insight. We were, a few years ago, in talks with a player here locally that was going to be playing in a New Year's Six game, okay? Take a wild guess what New Year's Six game that was and what program that was, okay? And they approached us and said, "Hey, if I'm going to the Rose Bowl, I should get paid extra on this week's show that I'm doing." And we were like, "I'm okay with that." We had to go back to the school. The school goes, "Oh, no. Can't do that. You're paying for name, image, likeness. You're not saying if you get to the Rose Bowl, we will give you more money."
Right.
So we had to be like, it's got to be like the regular rate, man. And what a wild conversation we were having. And that was even back when it was semi-new, paying kids to do these types of featurey things and having like local NIL deals. Crazy. So the transfer portal for BYU opens up and you have 5 names that hit it, and in 2025, 5 names hitting your transfer portal, it's likely that a lot of these guys, and I'm not saying that it's totally the case, because we're not going to know, they're not going to put next to you, what was the reason you left your last job? Disgruntled. Hated my roommate. The reality is that you could probably do the math on some of this, that some of these guys, and they're not going to be the only ones, have been asked or have been told, like, hey, they have their spring interviews because BYU's done with spring ball. They have their spring interviews, and the coaches go, man, we love you. We love your family. Thank you so much for your effort and what you put into the program over the last couple of years. We would suggest sharpening up that resume and hitting the transfer portal. In fact, there's no scholarship here for you. That's the conversation they're having with kids now. So I don't know if that's the case with every one of these guys, but Cale Breslin from BYU in the running back room now hits the transfer portal. And you see all these guys. Appreciate everything here's what it says. Appreciate everything BYU's done for me, especially the coaching staff and Coach Harvey. After careful consideration of my family, I've decided to enter the transfer portal on April 16th. I have 4 years of eligibility left, looking forward to the next chapter. Nason Coleman, tight end for BYU, same thing. Justice Enna, offensive line. He's actually the son of BYU's linebacker coach, Justin Enna. He goes to the transfer portal. Chris Hoke's kid, Nathan Hoke, transfer portal. Okay. Landon Rico, you recognize that name because he's the brother of BYU's former All-American punter, Ryan Rico. He's hit the transfer portal. So are we done with this? No. And you can go see this, by the way, at KSLSports.com. Mitch Harper is going to be on top of all of this. Anytime this drama drops, we're going to be, I'm telling you, it's going to be a breaking news situation at all times. We're going to have a transfer portal desk we're going to get breaking news from this entire 30 days or whatever it is that it's open. So I think that you're going to see more of this. Every one of these guys is hitting the transfer portal for different reasons. It does make me wonder, because in Justice Enna's case, for example, Justin Enna's kid, he came straight back from a mission, and this is what he's doing, is hitting the transfer portal.
We thought there'd be a lot of these situations with BYU.
Now, he initially had signed with Utah State. Is he going to go up there, play for Bronco? Things have changed quite a bit up at Utah State since he's been gone, I would say, right?
It's tough. It's a tough world out there for these kids that want to play college football, because where are you going to go? The opportunities are shrinking at the highest level, and it's going to push a lot of those players down, and it's going to be hard for high school players right now to find places to go play because everything got pushed down. There's not going to be scholarships. There's not going to be opportunities. It's a strange time in college basketball, college football, and college basketball for that matter, but it's going to be really interesting in this period of this year, between now and August, what happens with some of these kids and how it impacts college football as a whole. Because I think it actually is going to make college football as a whole better. Because it's going to spread and push some talent down to teams like Weber State. You mentioned Utah State. They're probably going to have opportunities to go get some kids that could help them. But especially the FCS level, Division II, Division III.
And by the way,
NAIA, those are good opportunities that they have.
And the FCS guys, they're going to push those guys who they're making room for these other FBS dudes to come down to there.
Right.
And hopefully, I'm hoping that it trickles down and makes those kind of more of a developmental league situation for these college
That's
teams.
what it's already there.
I'm hoping that that's the case. Because
how many key BYU players in the last 3 years have come from Weber State?
Well, they had a lot of guys who said, I mean, yeah, their best player on defense last year, right? I mean,
and the year before
their best player on defense the year before, yeah. So
multiple guys.
I do think that you're going to see these other programs. I know that the smaller programs tend to complain and go, yeah, the rich get richer, blah, blah, blah. I think these guys are going to get talent that they haven't had for a while in numbers that they haven't never had, maybe, because the transfer portal market is so competitive. And I'm glad for that. I'm glad for those programs. I'm glad they're going to have a place to land. I hope that some of these kids can face reality that they are not ready for an FBS program, even though they might have been recruited for it out of high school. Maybe they hit a mission and whatever. But Jaden Rashada was the first like 7 to 9. Remember those $7 to $9 million figures we were talking about with that guy? And he's going on his 5th team now. Okay?
That was a big story.
By the way, Steve Bartle, our Utah insider for KSLSports.com, is going to come on the program in the 5 o'clock hour. I would imagine that Steve's probably going to have a couple names here and there. We're probably going to see some of those names trickle out. I mean, it's the first day of the transfer portal. These guys, if they're not with the team anymore, or if they're not planning on being with the team, or if they've had a discussion with the coaches of, hey, and this might actually hit a little bit more next week when Utah's totally done with spring ball, because maybe that's when those conversations happen. But there might be some guys who see the writing on the wall and go, I'm out. So we'll ask Steve about all that. I mean, it's a weird time, man. It's an interesting time. It's a weird time to watch these kids go through it.
Yeah, and before we go to break, I just want to mention that Nico Maileava is going to UCLA. Who is Utah playing week 1 next year?
Oh, fun. Watch him be QB2. You know, just like that.
Well, I don't know who's on their depth chart, but maybe.
Well, I will say this, though. You know what happens when something like that
He's got to go
happen.
win the job.
Whoever their second string or third string quarterback was, they're not going to stick around. They see another guy get added to the quarterback room, and they go, I don't have a future here.
We talked about this during the break. Who's going to be the quarterback at Tennessee next year?
That could cause
and if you're the
some
Vols,
movement, yeah,
and you got cash, you're putting feelers out there. In fact,
Absolutely.
a report's already out. On 3 reported that TCU quarterback Josh Hoover had to come out and say, I'm not going into the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Because there was rumors rumbling that Tennessee had their eyes on him.
Yeah, and you know what? I bet he had conversations with him. And I bet TCU came back to him and goes, we'll give you $2 million, or whatever. If you think that hasn't happened or that's not happening, TCU needs – Josh Hoover's a guy that we know that a team wants to keep. He's valuable.
And if I'm Tennessee, that's where I'm shopping.
100%.
Proven Power 4 quarterbacks.
He could have been.
Who can we go snag?
You sneak a guy out of the Big 12. That's what Will Howard's deal was. Will Howard won the national championship with Ohio State last year. Like, that's where we're at.
That's how you win titles, and that's what Tennessee's trying to do.
He seemed like a semi-mid quarterback coming out of Kansas State that we were like, he signed with Ohio State.
Well, you surround him with All-Americans. He looks a lot better.
He did.
And so, was he good? He actually he showed at his pro day or at the combine that he really isn't as good as these other players.
Better chance to win a natty, TCU or Tennessee. Actually, you know what? That's a push for me. Tennessee,
TCU was in a national championship game 3 years ago. So you have to actually pause.
How'd that go?
You have to think about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that really that big of a move up for Josh Hoover if that was the decision he made? I don't think so, actually.
We've got a special edition of Would You Rather coming right up out of the gates here. JJ wonders whether or not it's insensitive or not. I think it's a good conversation now, right?
Alex is trying to get me in trouble.
No, I'm not. We'll
Yes,
talk
you
to you
are.
about it. It's going to be decision time. All right. And it's going to be a local, hyper local. Would you rather? You're not going to want to miss this. It's going to be very awkward. Stay with us. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody. Do you believe in karma? We've got a way to tap into it if you do. You log on to KSLSports.com. We're trying to raise money for a great cause and try to create some good vibes surrounding the Jazz for the NBA lottery. It's the KSL Sports very first time we've ever done it. 2 for 1. That's right. $2 of a donation for the good vibes of the possibility of the Utah Jazz landing the number 1 overall pick. I'm not sure who that would be because that's up to the Jazz, all right? They don't pay us to be
I don't want to
Justin Zack.
speculate.
No.
We're not going to do that on
But
the show.
you donate at least $2 to the cause. We would love to have every dollar is going to go directly to the folks at Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital in hopes of being able to get that Jazz the number 1 overall pick. So this is the way we do it. We have a little bit of fun with it on top of the fact that, and look, this is why we don't gamble in this state, because we can use money for better stuff when it comes to the gambling side. Don't gamble. All the money that you donate, at the very least, is going to go to an awesome cause at Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital. So go check it out. Go to KSLSports.com and donate those $2 today. We've had so many awesome people. If you go online, you can see the folks who have donated, and people are so generous. It's awesome because they're giving way more than $2, and this is not going to any other place except for to the folks at Primary Children's Hospital. So go make that donation today, KSLSports.com, and go check it out. There's a little banner on there. You can click on it. JJ, very quickly here. So the way I'm going to describe this is this. Our would you rathers are going to start taking an interesting turn, all right? Anything that is local that has any type of, because it used to just be like, hey, would you rather win a Super Bowl or, eat a turkey sandwich, right? Those aren't as fun.
I'd take the turkey sandwich.
I know. Here's what, look,
because I'm hungry.
I was going to say, on the plan that we're on, absolutely. Yeah. I can't eat the Lombardi Trophy. Come on, man. I'm gonna build this one as Utah State high schools that are the most disliked by other fan bases across the state. Okay, and you have your finger on the pulse of this, and so does our producer Alex.
So the high school sports programs in the state that people in the state love to hate.
Loved, exactly. Okay. The ones that
to be clear, everybody listening, this is not my opinion. This is not me.
No,
this
you
is
get
who
the vibe.
I think you hate.
This is you get the vibe. Because you're around at all these places. We've been to a lot of these different places. Yes. And so I'm going to do this. So we'll start it off easy. Spanish Fork or Provo?
Oh, man. Neither are like.
Yeah. Just between the two,
All right. Spanish Fork's baseball program is really good, and their football program is good this year.
Let's go
better. Spanish Fork.
Okay. So the Dons or Timpview?
Oh, Timpview.
Timpview. All right,
is,
there you go.
Yeah, you hit a nerve. People listening right now. Timpview.
Okay, Timpview or Orem?
Oh, it's still Timpview,
okay.
But I think
close.
There's a lot. Those are two polarizing programs. Timpview, I think, hits more sports.
You see how we're playing this game then?
Yeah.
Okay. Timpview or American Fork?
Timpview still, by far.
Timpview or Bingham?
Still Timpview.
Timpview or Lehigh? Well, see, Lehigh's starting to come around a little bit.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. It's still Timpview.
Okay. Timpview or Davis?
Oh, boy.
Up in Davis County, there's a lot of hate for my darts.
Davis County, from Fremont all the way down to Woods Cross. Everybody hates them.
Yeah.
Davis.
Okay. Davis or Farmington?
Still Davis.
Okay.
Farmington's too new.
Yeah. Davis or Lone Peak?
Lone Peak.
Oh.
No, Lone Peak. I'm doing air quotes here on our stream. The rich kids.
Oh, I know. There's a handful of those schools.
Everybody loves to beat Lone Peak.
Okay, Lone Peak or Skyridge?
It's become Skyridge, actually.
Okay.
I think so, especially in football.
Okay. Skyridge or Corner Canyon?
Oh, everyone knows. To all my friends at Corner Canyon, I'm sorry. It's Corner Canyon.
Corner Canyon?
Everybody wants to beat Corner Canyon.
Corner Canyon or Juan Diego?
Oh,
again,
Corner Canyon.
Insufferable groups.
Corner Canyon.
Okay.
Only the people that judge would disagree with me on that one.
Corner Canyon or East?
Still Corner Canyon.
This one's going to be a good one. Corner Canyon or Olympus?
It's still Corner Canyon.
Corner Canyon or Brighton?
You're getting warmer. Still Corner Canyon.
Okay, I'd say Corner Canyon.
But
too.
I would have saved Timpview for the championship round there.
Well, no, it's really funny how it works.
We Timpview out a little too early
because
Lone Peak too, man.
Now from a
because Corner Canyon I think is number one, and you start going with the Lone Peaks, the Skyridge.
See, but I disagree.
Timpview, the Orem.
No, Lone Peak and Corner Canyon, like I knew those are going to hit some nerves with people. But Olympus is right there too, and maybe it's because I lived long enough in the Highland boundaries and Brighton is coming up, man. They're like.
Oh yeah,
there's a vibe. There's a vibe, man.
I'll throw out some smaller schools: Park City, Morgan.
Oh yeah.
Crimson Cliffs down in St. George.
Oh, they have some of that going on.
Ridgeline up in. See these teams that were starting to win.
Hey,
a lot.
who are the Millard County real hated teams down there?
Millard County. Delta. Hate those rabbits.
The Beavers. Get out of here. All right.
That's the best high school name in the country.
I know. You can't beat it.
The Beavers.
All right. We'll take the break there. Good first round of that one, by the way.
Yeah.
And you didn't implicate yourself.
So Corner Canyon won? Is that...
You know who did? Yeah. Or lost, whatever you want to look at.
I don't know. I think we need to have a series between Timpview and Corner Canyon.
You know who implicated themselves? I'm not making this personal, but our producer Alex had American Fork for a long time. That's a trauma. I know. And you're looking at him. It was a totally personal beef that he had with how he was treated when he was calling a game down there.
Really? Okay.
I love it. Again, you'll get all these lists, man. Get personal.
That was fun.
All right, we'll take the break here. We'll come back.
No hate mail, please.
Mike Folta, radio play-by-play voice of the Utah Hockey Club, coming up next. So stay right here with us. 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.